The transition away from home and into a college environment is a period that introduces students to new social interactions and expectations. However, some students fail to find mental ground during this change. Sadly, approximately 1,100 college students die each year from suicide. After a recent tragic string of student suicide deaths at the University of Pennsylvania, colleges located on the other side of the state may be feeling the pressure to implement new preventative matters to strengthen student mental health, and Robert Morris University of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is no exception.
My role as the crisis counselor, I am here for day-to-day issues, so students who just are feeling overwhelmed and just need to talk to somebody that day. And I'm also on call 24/7 in case of emergencies. We also have a psychiatrist who's on campus 1 day a week, and so students who are interested in medications can also meet with our psychiatrist to do that. You know, there's rarely a day that our schedules aren't full. Last year, in our first year, we saw almost about 10% of the student body. So yeah, I think we saw close to 500 students last year alone, which is just pretty unbelievable. You know, it's kind of one of those, like, if you build it, they will come. You know, there's a huge need. Mental health issues are increasing on campuses. Residence Life, the counseling center, and the police work very closely in any sort of attempt. Should the police in the middle of the night or Residence Life find out about a student who is having suicidal ideation and who plans to make an attempt, Residence Life is going to call me in and the police in. If there's a completed suicide, it's probably a little bit different, you know. We would focus then more on the other students. We are very much, you know, co-parents of students.
So we argue for a kind of community-based approach that has a number of components, and really you can think about the components as the school should be doing what it can to help promote connectedness and life skills and the kinds of things that are really kind of developed through a thoughtful student affairs programming system.
I think as a freshman mentor, it's absolutely my responsibility to always be there for a student regardless of what they're going through. We're taught from day one to let them know that we're their resource.
Like if they come to us and they say, look, can I talk to you and you promise not to tell anybody? We have to say, if it's the type of thing where you can harm yourself, I'm obligated to tell someone, which makes me kind of sad because I'm afraid that someone's not going to come to me if they need to. But at the same time, I think it's good because we know like the right channels to bring it to.
There should be, you know, multiple opportunities for students to connect both to, you know, the sort of the general campus community, but to subgroups within. In fact, the suicide rate among college students is lower than the rate among non-college attending 18 to 25-year-olds. So being in college is, I think, a surprise to many people, is actually protective.
Just being a college student in general, but especially when you're a freshman, you're thrown into this new environment, you're away from home, and you might adjust well or you might not adjust well. I think for a lot of students, making that adjustment is very scary. If they don't make friends and if they don't get involved, it can be discouraging.
I know I've never had to deal with it personally, but I do have friends who have gone through that, and it's scary. Like, it's such a touchy subject. My boyfriend's oldest brother actually committed suicide when their dad passed away, and it's the type of thing where, like, you don't know what to do about it. It's like it's like a hot spot, you know what I mean? And like, I know I'm a Christian, and being a Christian, it's kind of something that's not talked about.
We can't be afraid to talk about suicide. Because the reality is that if I ask a friend about suicide, it's not putting it in their heads, right? So if I said to you, hey, have you ever thought about suicide? If you hadn't, you're not going to now just become suicidal. What actually research shows is that when we ask about it, it lowers anxiety, and somebody who might not have ever talked about it can begin talking about it for the first time.
For more information on ways to start the conversation on suicide prevention, visit the JED Foundation website at jedfoundation.org.